Well, one thing that I can say is that after Commissioner Robinson and I got elected 2 years ago, one of the first things we did was fix the historic preservation ordinance. We actually hired a consultant. Her name was Nancy Stroud. Okay, she's renowned around this state for the work that she does around historic preservation, and we rewrote the ordinance. We then had to send that ordinance to the Secretary of State for the state of Florida because he is deputized to supervise all of these cities with their historic preservation programs. He wrote back to us and said, we gutted the ordinance too much. We made it too much of a free-for-all when it came to historic preservation. We gave the property owner too much leeway. We had to rein in some of the changes that we made to that ordinance, and those changes were to your benefit. So today we have an ordinance that I think and I believe strikes a good balance. It preserves our neighborhoods, which are unique in their historic character, but in addition to that, they provide homeowners the ability to make simple changes: doors, windows, fences, roofs. Those changes are now being made. I spoke to a homeowner on O Street. He's making those changes right now. The other thing is we finally put together guidelines, visual guidelines, so that you can see if I have a set of jalousie windows, what are the 6 type of windows that I can replace those with? We actually approved both of those things this year. So we changed the ordinance, we changed staff also, and we approved the visual historic preservation guidelines. I appreciate your time and your thinking.
Actually, when my opponent first got into office, he tried to dismantle the historic board. He has since then changed his tune, but that was actually his first approach on that. As far as the historic board is concerned, again, I had served on the planning and zoning board, so I kind of see some parallels in that, because some things can get approved in historic or they get approved in the PNC, depending upon where they're located. We do have some new visuals, we do have some new manuals. I personally was impressed, and I don't live in a historic district. I do believe that it's interesting in the city though, because you can say that we don't allow metal roofs, and then you can go find people who have metal roofs. You can say you don't allow certain things and other people know how. So it's kind of who you know and how you get through and when you get through. I think we need to bring some consistency in all of our processes. Thank you.
Kathy's right about that, and when it comes back to development, we have to have development that is proper for growth, but also keeps the character of our city. HRPB has made some changes. Windows, roofs, doors. Bob Dorenzo is the one that actually pushed that through a couple of years ago. People were coming up and saying, I want to change my windows. They were making them come back and say, well, no, you have to have the same windows from 1953 and go get them fixed at some place and get the parts to do that. It's not efficient. Now they've changed those rules, and we're able to get those things done. As far as character goes, you know, there are plenty of tin roofs in the house, and I think that in the town, and I think that that sort of thing can continue. It is a case-by-case basis. I think historic preservation is important. We live in a historic neighborhood here and in the South End where we live now. But I think that some of the changes are being made to make it a little more user-friendly. This is 2019, and we need to be safe from hurricanes. We can have proper windows and doors and roofs to keep us safer than we did 70 and 80 years ago.
Just a bit of housekeeping. I've been informed of a crucial message. If you order food from the bar, you must go get it. They will not bring it to you. So anyone who orders food at the bar, you have to get it. Wow. It's a tough house, but that's how they work. All right. Moving along. The Lake Worth Utility Department is considering making changes to the way power generated by residential solar panels are billed. Do you feel this will discourage homeowners from installing panels, and what is your position on the proposed change? Maybe start with her.
It's net metering. We have about 90 homes that have solar panels on their property and are actually selling electricity back to the city. We're buying it. Problem is, we're buying it at a higher rate than what we're actually buying it from OUC, and that we're passing on to you. Those are 90 homes. We have contracts with them. I want to honor our contracts to those 90 people. We subsidize tobacco, we subsidize oil, we subsidize soybeans, we subsidize just about every industry that needs a start. And solar power needs subsidy. And I think Lake Worth, as a green city, is quite willing to subsidize not to an unfair limit, but to subsidize the increase in solar panels in our town. If we're going to be a green city, I'm looking forward to more solar panels on our property.
So currently we do have about 90 properties that are generating so much power at their properties with their solar panels that we're actually buying back the power from them. And I don't have a problem with that. I think that's a fair arrangement. It's a free market type of arrangement. The problem is the price at which we buy back the power is actually a retail price, rather than what Ed Liberty says, who's our electric utilities director, the avoided cost of power. So we should be paying them the same rate that we pay the other people that we buy power from, not the retail rate. And that's what we're discussing. I think it is really important, as Commissioner Robinson said, to honor the contracts that we have with the 90 homeowners and business owners that have solar panels and that participate in the net metering program that we have. But going forward, we need to strike a new deal with people who are installing solar panels. It's not really sustainable. We have to pay not a retail rate, but probably a wholesale rate, because if we do not, our ability to keep rates low, which is an accomplishment of this commission that we finally achieved parity with FPL, our ability to keep rates low, if this grows much more than it is right now, will be in jeopardy. So I'm in favor of changing the program for new solar panel owners.
So right now what we're doing is we are paying 10 cents a unit when we can buy it on the open market for 2.8 cents a market, which means that all of us are subsidizing the 90 homes and businesses that have solar. So I too believe that we need to grandfather those who are already in. There are federal programs that give people discounts, so there is still some incentive to do the right thing. But again, I don't think that we need to continue doing that. And another issue that we have right now with these people is that these people who have the solar power panels, is that there really isn't a contract. Should there be a problem with their particular unit and it pushes back into ours, we have no recourse. So we need contracts. We need to get a fair market, or pay a fair market price, and we can go forward with that. Thank you.
We are spending a little too much to buy back power on net metering. It's actually under PURPA, which is the Power Utility Repurchase Act of 1977, that you're allowed to do that. And nobody's talking about wind, too. You know, you can get small wind turbines about the size of me that are conically shaped that generate 10 kilowatts of power. You can power half your house on that. So we're going to be facing some of this in the future as well. Solar only works during the day, and unless you have batteries, you're not storing it, so it does have to then come back. If you're using that excess power, you're not using that excess power, and it comes back. I thought there were 250 homes, but anyone else who comes in once we change the regulation, we do need to grandfather those in. Those are the agreements that we have with those folks. But it's more for your benefit, right? That you're having solar in your house. Forget about selling it back. That you're able to keep your house off the grid, so to speak, in that sense. And I feel that we should have more solar, we should have more wind, everybody should have some sort of a green element to their home. And it's incentivized by the state and the federal government. We don't have to incentivize anything here. We don't incentivize oil and soybeans or anything here in Lake Worth. We are subsidizing a bit the folks that have solar on their roofs, but there really should be more of it.
Change that's coming down in net metering. The change is in fact something that's going to encourage newer homeowners to put these systems into their homes. It is good for the city on the buyback program. We're very unique in that we're a coastal city and we also own our own electric utility, and that electric utility kicks royalties back into our general fund to help prop our general fund up, help not subsidize, but help run the city operations for us. One of the things that I'd like to, when we talk about visioning in future, we have to start talking about what our electric grid is going to be in the future, not just our generation side of the grid as well. And we have a piece of land that is on the west side of the city where the solar panels sit now. And if you look at it on a Google map or if you visit it, it is this tiny little solar panel, a couple little solar panels on top of this giant swath of land. We have got to use capital improvement project funding to bring in more solar panel. We can also look to public-private partnerships as well to grow our solar panels there. And then we bring in the strategic marketing and communications to let you guys know that this is happening. One of the biggest problems that we're having here right now is we're talking about something that nobody here maybe knows about. So we got to make sure that we're getting it out there, that this is the future that we're looking at. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have an uneven number of questions, so we're going to bounce it right back. So I'm going to have you start this one. What are the top points in short form of your strategic plan for Lake Worth?
So top points in short form.
Right, because you only have a minute to answer. It's a big question,
Top points in short form. This is like my 4th minute on my 3-minute ending right here. So what I really focus on, this entire campaign is focused on economic development. Like you may be in the same mindset as me. I'm an economist first and foremost. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman. I'm a little bit concerned that we might be on the back end of an economic cycle here. And if you're concerned about that like I am, then we have got to put our foot on the gas for economic development in this city. That means investing into our downtown, like I said earlier, doing the things that other cities do. They invest in their downtown. They're thinking about mobility. They're thinking about solving problems now with public dollars. Okay, they're thinking about problems ahead. We need to be doing that as well. I also want to look to revitalize and lift up our neighborhoods, especially the neighborhoods that have been ignored for many years on the southwest side. Like I said, youth empowerment has been a passion of mine, and we have so many young kids in this city that have nowhere to go. We have a community center on the southwest side, but if you've been to it, there's no rec programming happening there. We have Howard Park there as well, but we can be doing so much more. I want to take money and I want to put it back into our neighborhoods, not just those neighborhoods, but your neighborhoods as well. So investing into the city to spur economic development is my #1 top priority among everything else. Thank you.
Top priorities are, as I said earlier, cleaning up the messes that we have out on Dixie and Federal Highways, on our entranceways, and the crime that we have there by helping PBSO, I think, bolster their units. It's fixing our amenities. It's taking our infrastructure, the things that we have that need to be rebuilt. This golf course is sinking into the intracoastal, and if you live on it, you know what I'm talking about. Every year the water got closer and closer to our house after a heavy rain. We need to do the same thing at the beach. So if we take our amenities and we put the money and the investment into that and make them more attractive for people to come, I think that's my top priority. Attracting business to town and development to town, again, it's going to have to go back to how do we present ourselves to people? How do they look at us? What do they think about Lake Worth? What is their opinion of that? And I don't know if it's marketing so much. I think you have to make yourself more marketable before you can go and market yourself. And you have to look at it that way. So it's a short list, and I think it needs to be tight like that. We need to fix the things that we have here that are falling into disrepair, and then we need to just clean up the city and then attract business that way.
So, first of all, I think that we need I want to bring your voice to the dais. That takes work, because as we've seen with the pool of the 800 people, it takes work to be in the community, actually understand what it is that is needed in all of our neighborhoods. I also want to bring transparency to our city government. We should never be buying and selling property on a consent agenda. We need to have a discussion. I also believe that safety is a priority. Now we do have our safety, our crime has gone down, but we can still find children walking by illegal activities on their way to and from school. We need to have some we need to have deputies in those locations. So we need to bring on, obviously, smart development. We have a beautiful coastal city. We have a tremendous amount of assets, our beaches, our intercoastal, our cottages, our diverse neighborhoods. They need to be protected, enabled to have their most efficient and highest good. Thank you.
My plan for the next 3 years after my re-election would be to continue doing the things that we've been doing. I understand that the crime rate is down 27%. Still, to me, that's not good enough. We can continue to drive that rate lower. I understand that our road bond program is $5 million under budget and ahead of schedule. That, to me, isn't good enough because we're only doing 1/3 of our neighborhood roads. So I would like to see us devote a portion of the penny sales tax funds, of which we'll have about $19 million more left. I would like to see us devote a portion of that funds to the roads that did not make the cut for the road bond. To me, that makes a lot of sense. In addition to that, I want to continue to drive investment and economic development. It was this commission that voted to send dollars to the Park of Commerce so that we could drive return on investment there. We spent over $3.5 million there. That's going to be a positive thing here for the city. In addition to that, I would like us to create more opportunities for people to live here in the city. I said when we approved the first luxury apartment complex in the city that if you're into cottages and single-family homes, we have a lot for you. But if you're a young person who's about my age, who's a professional, who's interested in an apartment that's very, very nice, that reflects your aspirations, we have almost nothing for you. And that's going to be a crucial part of the strategy going forward for us here in the city. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to the next 3 years to make some hard decisions on our sales tax expenditures. The casino is my priority. A pool is hopefully going to be part of that. And understanding that compromise is going to be the underlying thing that makes this move forward. And first of all, we have to have a conversation about it, which has taken a long time to get to. Tomorrow night's conversation on how much we're going to spend where. I'm looking forward to compromise on our roads, parking downtown, and most importantly on the casino. One of my other priorities is education. If we had A-rated schools, even if we had B-rated schools in Lake Worth, we wouldn't have the economic challenges that we have now. And to spend $150,000 on a park study when we already have aware of our park challenges, I find less than productive. I certainly want to spend $120,000 that's being talked about for a bureaucratic one person. I would like to have one person hired that is already aware of the situations in our schools and divide that money to help all the schools. That's a priority. Downtown is also a priority.
All right, that concludes our question section. Now for the final challenge, we have an obstacle course set out along the water. All right, so we're going to be moving along to closing statements, and we're just going to continue along this way. So as we said, we have 3 minutes each. It's your opportunity to tell us anything that you like, and it revolves anything at all. So, Tommy's your last one, so we're doing this.
Again, to start, thank you, Michelle. I love you. Thank you. I'm not here because of her. That's my first endorsement right there. And it's the one that meant the most to me. That's why I'm standing here. She said I'm the right person for the job, and this is what I should be doing. As chair of the Finance Advisory Board and the Bond Oversight Committee, it's important to me that you understand that we shouldn't spend any penny sales tax money on roads until we're done with the project. We are going to be about $5 million under budget. We did raise an additional $1 million on the sale of the bonds that we sold at a premium. That gives us $6 million extra in the end. It's a $40 million borrowing, so that's 15% of that number. It doesn't mean we get to do 15% more roads. It means we get to do about 25 to 30% more roads because they're in better shape. So let's deal with that first. Let's take the penny sales tax money and do 2 things that need to be done. Well, 3 things. Put some money aside for things that come up along the way. As we build a plan, do this golf course and do that beach. And not just the pool, but the things that need to be done at the beach complex as well. Herman is right about that. We talked about Lake Worth Beach. I'm against it completely, not just from a history standpoint, but there's a better way. I've been given guidance by the post office here in South Florida. We have 7 zip codes that carry a designation of Lake Worth. 6 of them is the primary. The procedure is to petition the post office to remove Lake Worth from any zip code that's outside our city. And I'm working with them now, putting together a procedure. I was working with the city attorney's office, but they dropped the ball. So I'm just taking this on myself and writing the proposal to the post office. That's the way to get it done. So if a crime happens in 6-3, it happens in Green Acres, not in Lake Worth. All the crime stats in the entirety of Central Palm Beach County dump down on our 37,000 people. And that makes us the 4th most dangerous city in the state when we're not. Crime is dropping, but we're getting everyone else's crime stats. I think that we can fund the PBSO. We were all here in this room after the tie line went down, and Cat Bear told us at the Parrot Cove meeting there was not one crime in the city that night. Why? Because they pulled in assets from all the other districts and they flooded the city with cars. Remember that, right? In the meeting here in that last April. And there wasn't one crime. That's a proven message right there. It's a proof of concept that if we can get more police on the street, we can cut down on our crime. How do we do that? The CRA has blown millions of dollars buying properties for a certain price and then either giving them away or selling them for nothing. The CRA is able to pay for police presence in their district. It's part of blight as well. Blight is not just buildings that need to be fixed, it's crime. And the CRA has the opportunity to do that. That's 19 deputies for what they paid on L&M Street for. Right? That's 6 deputies per shift in the CRA district. That's a lot of presence and that's a lot of crime that can be stopped. Again, I hope I can get your vote and talk to you afterwards about things. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Okay, 3 minutes. First, a reminder. The road bond was voted in by the people of this city. It was on the same ballot as Omari's name 2 years ago. So while he'd like to take credit for that, it was actually all of us and the former commission. The other thing was regarding crime. 3 months before Omari was voted into office, our mayor signed in 5 additional deputy officers. We've added no more, but she added 5 in 3 months before he took office. Also, the state has made regulation on sober homes, so we've had fewer sober homes and fewer people on the streets. Now, our dais did vote in to buy the equipment that was requested by PBSO. As far as the comprehensive plan for the park, we have been talking about it for years. Years they've been talking about doing a study. This study is not of them. This is a study that encompasses all 37,000 of our residents and a few thousand more who we haven't counted yet. So I believe this is truly needed. We need to look at everyone's, the people who are here and the people who will be coming here, and what is truly best for our city. And as I said before, if it comes back that the best use is to put a pool at the beach, then I will be the first one to vote that in. As far as, I'm sorry again, I have been endorsed by Vice Mayor Andy Amoroso. He is your District 3 Commissioner. I have been endorsed by the realtors of Palm Beach County and the greater Fort Lauderdale area. My background is in business, and I understand there's a big difference between local government and business, but there's some basic business principles that are greatly needed on our dais. When elected, I will take the municipal elected classes that are offered by the League of Cities to bring me up to speed on the laws and nuances governing this position. I will bring my business skills, experience, and discipline to the City Hall, starting with establishing my own business hours and keeping an open door policy. I will bring transparency to our local government, beginning with that consent agenda. Again, we should never be buying or selling property, $1 million worth of property on a consent agenda. That needs a discussion. We should know when there has been a bid proposal on one of our properties. I would like to see that included on our website. I'd like to make it public knowledge. I will work to improve the lack of consistency in our customer service, and I will encourage much needed improvements in our marketing, communication, and business development. We have a great little city. We need to be better at sharing it, and I need your vote. Please vote for Kathy Turk, March 12th. Thank you.
So I'm a teacher, and I hate to get all scholastic on you, but when I think about those of us who sit on the dais, whether it's me or whether it's Commissioner Robinson, when I think about what it is that you've elected us to do, a favorite quote comes to mind, and it's by one of my favorite authors, Henry David Thoreau. He wrote that book we were all supposed to read in high school, Walden. He said, to affect the quality of the day is the highest of arts. Right? And when I think about what we're elected to do, that's exactly what our job is. Our job is to improve the quality of your days here in Lake Worth, is to improve the quality of your life. And I would submit over the past 2 years? That's exactly what it is that we've been doing over the past 2 years. And I think the proof is in the pudding. You can look at the crime rate and see that it's down 27%. It's down because each of us on the dais had a hand in that, whether it's voting on the PBSO contracts, or whether it's pushing for the license plate readers that are catching the people with the stolen vehicles, or whether it's pushing for the cameras that are catching people committing crimes in the act. We had a hand in that. In addition, we solved historic preservation. And so you've seen it easier to get simple changes to your homes, whether it's doors, windows, roofs, fences, and in addition to that, you've seen your home values increase more than any other city in Palm Beach County. You've seen your electric rates come to parity with everything else. You've seen investment flowing to the city. And so, what I would say is this: is your life better today here in Lake Worth than it was 2 years ago? And I think the answer is undoubtedly yes. And I think the fact is, every single one of us up on there on the dais played an important role in making that happen. And the only people who would say otherwise are the very same people who are running for office. And so what I would say is this: if you're going to run for office and you're running against people who've been in office while we've done good things, my question is why now? Why, when we finally have it all together? When we finally have things coming in strong, the road bond, sure, I didn't vote on it, but I supervised it along with my peers on the dais, and it's $5 million under budget, and it's ahead of schedule. And the fact is, although my opponent would like to say I had no hand in that, the fact is, if it was $5 million over budget, and if it was behind schedule, if our crime rate was up 27%, she would have no problem hanging that around my neck, right? And so, look, this is the truth. This is the truth. Teddy Roosevelt used to say, you don't change horses in the middle of a stream. And so I would say to you, you don't change your commission while they're on the roll. You don't change the people who sit up there on the dais while they've been making things happen that we've wanted to see for a long time. Guys, we have momentum for the first time in a very, very long time. There's no reason to change direction. We're going in the right direction. We're on the right course. When you go into your polling place on March 12th, and when you go into that ballot booth, it is my hope and it is my request that you put your mark next to my name. My name is Commissioner Omari Hardy. I'm asking for your vote. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for participating.
I love working with Omari Hardy, but I hate to follow him behind the microphone. So, really.
We love you,
there are many, I'm going to read this again too because it's less torturous for me. There are many reasons for running for office in Lake Worth. I believe my reasons are the most honest, the most sincere, and I will prove to be the most productive for our city. I have experience working with the existing commission staff, volunteer boards, and other elected leaders. I am able to communicate, exchange ideas, and compromise when necessary. I am proud and honored to be endorsed by Congresswoman Lois Franklin, Senator Bobby Powell, Jr., State Senator Laurie Berman, County Commissioner Dave Kerner, Palm Beach County School Board member Erica Whitfield, Human Rights Council, the AFL-CIO, City Commissioners Andy Amoroso and Omari Hardy, and former City Commissioner Retha Lowe. These people have worked in government. They know what it's like. They know the expectation on the outside is entirely different than working with people in government. So I value their endorsement, and they know what it's like. And they recognize that I am good for government.